What is going on, Canes fans? It's Matty Ice here with Caniacs, and this is the Canes Calling Pod. Caniacs, how you feeling tonight?
What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing tonight? I'm doing great. How you feeling, Maddie?
Dude, I am feeling so good right now. We have an interview with Brad Tejeda, which is amazing, after listening to him all this time as a Miami Hurricanes fan. Um,
I'm
and I
excited.
mean, not to mention, like, this is our first show, man.
I know.
Congrats to
Finally,
you, congrats to me, like, we're
congrats.
doing
Yeah,
it.
we're finally getting it off the ground.
I know, it's about time, right?
It is about time. But hopefully we
Um,
can bring the content that everybody's looking for.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. We're here for the people, Caniacs. We're here for
That's
the
it.
people.
We are people.
Um, so we're gonna break down NC State. We're gonna break it down ourselves, and then we're gonna bring in Brad, and we're gonna get into some things, including the NC State game. So, um, we have that to look forward to. But let's just get right into it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So
Let's break down the game real quick.
So the Canes won Friday night. I was honestly scared about this game just because, the Friday night games, I just feel like when you're the away team, I feel like it's just like a trap game, man. Like
Well,
anything can happen.
yeah, plus Miami hasn't done really well in Friday night games in the past either.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was worried about the fact that like we had 11 people out, and like we didn't know until an hour before who was going to be out.
Right. Yeah, that did make it nervous because there was a rumor going around that Derek King wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, but I think based on like, because I mean they had all the media availability, so like we kind of knew who was going to be in and out,
Right.
So at
But you
least,
know how the rumors go.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of crazy rumors out there, right?
Right.
So let's just kind of get into this. When I was doing this of like what we were going to talk about, I was thinking, okay, let's go over the good and the bad, and then I kind of just realized that that's just going to turn into talking about the offense and the defense.
Right.
So just kind of worked out like that. Um, but I mean, one of the first notes of the game, man, Manny got his first win as a head coach, coming off a bye.
Off a bye week other than Clemson. I mean,
So,
because I can't really count that one because I mean, most everybody knew that we weren't going to win that game. I really wanted to just see where we were at, we all know the outcome of that one.
yeah, I mean, it was a good measuring stick, but I mean, I think they showed up more than we did. But I mean, hey, we got the dub on Friday night. That's what matters.
It does matter. Now, the only thing I was worried about was looking at the defense coming out. It didn't look so good, but
Yeah, you
at the
mean
end of
just coming off the bye, right?
just
Yeah,
coming off the bye.
yeah. No, I mean, and we'll get into that. Well, I mean, story of the game on offense. I mean, I think you have to go with Derek King, right? Just
Oh yeah.
dominate. He had
Oh,
430 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 15 carries for 105 yards. That's 535 total yards.
right,
King,
and he was 31 for 41.
yeah. Not to mention too, we saw the deep ball. The deep ball was was all night, man. Literally all night. I can't even say it because I mean I was just like, dang, man.
Couldn't believe it was happening.
I couldn't believe it was happening, finally happening. I mean, I knew it was inevitable, Derek King, like that's what he was known for at Houston. People forget that.
hmm
Um,
I
I mean,
think we finally got to see what we wanted to see when Rhett Lashley and Derek King decided they were going to come to Miami. I think we
oh yeah,
finally got to see a glimpse of what this offense can do when everybody's clicking. I mean, the wide receivers, they were fighting to get open,
hmm
and his touch on the deep ball I don't care what anybody says, it's ridiculously good.
yeah. That one throw to I think it was Mike Harley. I'm trying to remember which quarter it was, but he caught it like in the corner of the end zone, and then he ran into the stands. You remember that one?
Yeah.
He
Yep.
couldn't
Yep.
have
I sure
thrown
do.
that ball any better.
No,
It
that
was
was
like he just dropped it right there, and you know Harley made a pretty good catch. It reminded me of like you ever seen like Willie Mays, how he like would catch in the outfield like
Oh
pop
yeah.
flies and stuff.
hmm
It kind of reminded me of that. I was just like, dang man.
Yeah, Derek King had some great balls. I mean, he completed 6 deep shots for 176 yards and 3 TDs. and his completion percentage. I mean, 41 to 31. I mean that's amazing, and especially hitting 6 deep balls.
Yeah, completely agree. I think too, like a lot of what contributed to his success was the offensive line played pretty well. Like granted, they're not playing against, the best defensive line, like Clemson or Pitt, like before, but like I think they played pretty well. Zion had a really good game. Um, Jared Williams, I thought he played okay. I don't think he had, the greatest game, but I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah, well, Jared Williams, he only allowed like 3 QB pressures, and he graded out at about 69. Well, let's just say 70 on the pass blocking.
Yeah, and I think he was
so that's
77.
really good.
Yeah, 77 on the run block too.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? Because obviously Cam Harris, he voiced his frustrations at the last game because he didn't get that many carries. I think it was like 8 carries for like 8 yards or something like that. He had 15 carries for 62 yards. I mean, he had some nice runs, but I feel like going forward, I feel like running the ball isn't like a huge focal point in terms of like we're not going to have someone rushing for like 100 yards. You know what I mean? Unless someone breaks off a huge.
True. But in this offense, they also use the swing pass, the wide receiver screens, the tight end screens, also as running plays too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, but yeah, Cam Harris looked like he had his vision back this game. Mm-hmm. It also looked like he was picking up the blitzes better. It looked like he knew what he was doing, so maybe him having those limited carries might have helped improve his performance. Just like with Harley. I mean, after his comments, I mean, look at the whole wide receiver room. So hopefully, it's rubbing off, and I mean, the freshmen are doing really well. So, I mean, can't really complain too much.
I mean, I know we had mentioned it a little bit about the receivers. I mean, honestly, this week I thought the only thing that our upperclassmen receivers were going to catch was COVID. But they really proved me wrong this week. I mean, besides Harley, I thought Harley would have a decent game. But yeah, I mean, Harley, Pope, Wiggins. Harley had 153 yards, 2 touchdowns.
On 9 receptions.
Yeah, well, he caught 3 of the 6 deep balls that King threw, which is like, wow.
Right.
Him and King have got that connection going because last game he was balling too.
Right. Well, Mark Pope had 6 receptions for 97 yards and a TD, and you can see kind of where King and Pope are starting to get that RPO timing down. Mm-hmm. Because if you notice that one RPO slant that he had where De'Aaron King, by the way, stood in and took a beating of a hit on that one. But he delivered that ball with a zip, and it went out there. You could see he trusted where he was going to be at. And I saw on Rose's breakdown to where he showed that exactly the same spot where De'Aaron King and Pope threw the ball. It's the exact same spot where he threw the ball during the Clemson game.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And also D. Wiggins, he came out. He had 9 receptions for 77 yards and a TD. He did drop one with 2 minutes left in the second quarter that would have made him the first down, but that's all right. We got a field goal out of it. I mean, now anytime we get to the 50 or just beyond, we know it's going to be an automatic score. So it's either going to be 3 or 6.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's nice finally having a kicker now, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah.
But I want to go back at kind of on one thing that you had mentioned, and that was De'Aaron King when he took that hit for the completion. I think it was to Pope, right?
Yeah.
He took some multiple hits on Friday. I don't know if you noticed. There was a few calls like he got pushed out of bounds. I think that there was a 2 roughing the passer calls. Don't quote me on that, but like he just stood in there, just took it, man.
Yeah, he took it and delivered. I mean, you could see why De'Aaron King is De'Aaron King and why everybody's so high up on him.
So De'Aaron King had a hell of a game. Let's talk about an area where things could have maybe been a little better. The defense allowed 41 points. I want to say, was it like 400 something yards, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, it just, I don't know if it was just the bye week or what, bad coaching. It just, they did not look ready to play. I think the only one that showed up and was ready to play was Jalen Phillips. He was like one of the only like major bright spots until we got to the fourth quarter, you know.
I don't. Nesta played a hell of a game.
Yeah, Nesta was big in that fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, I think as a unit, we could have done better.
Well, Amari didn't get a targeting call. So I mean, how much better can we get?
I mean, yeah. He gets the gold star for that. Good job, Amari. But he actually played pretty well. He had I think he had 7 tackles and maybe a pass deflection or 2. Was pretty active.
I think he played better than Bubba did this game.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba just kind of looked like he wasn't 100% in it. I don't know. What's your take on that? He didn't look like he was ready to play.
I think they had him out of position. They looked like they had him back way too far.
Okay.
That's just my take.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, defensive line, we already talked about Jalen Phillips. Defensive line, I thought played pretty well.
I do want to say one more thing about that.
Oh, okay.
I think you're right on some of that too with Bubba because he was taking some horrible angles.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was injured or what happened, what was going on, or if they were looking for a big picture, like they're going to go to the title game already. Because this thing right here, I want to play this real quick because this kind of caught my attention. I don't know if this caught your attention during the game or not.
Okay, let's hear it.
Good evening, gentlemen. Miami is 5-1, so that means the U is back, right? Pump the brakes, says Hurricanes head coach Manny Diaz. Diaz told me this week that they've had a tendency to look too big picture rather than focusing on the opponent directly before him. And he said, as a result, quote, we've gotten really good at getting our asses kicked. Tonight, they must focus on NC State rather than getting to be 6-1.
So after I heard that, the one thing that stuck out to me was when he said that the team was looking ahead. I mean, that could be part of the reason why Virginia Tech was such a crappy game. I mean, after hearing that, I believe that...
You mean Virginia?
Virginia.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
But after the Florida State game, when they trounced them 52-10, that I believe after hearing that's probably when it started for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe when I heard that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about probably the group that showed up the most on defense, which was the defensive line. We talked about what Jalen Phillips did. I mean, Quincy Roche had a tough matchup with their left tackle. I think it's what was his name, Iguanu or something?
Something like that. He is a beast. Holy cow!
Oh my God! By the way, did you see on that throwback from to Bailey Hawkman? He just
the first
leveled
touchdown of NC State.
Yeah, the first touchdown. He just leveled Al Blades, who himself did not have a good game at all. Coverage-wise, just not. Yeah, and he got freaking shattered, man.
Oh man, yes he did.
Jeez. But anyway, so defensive line looked pretty good. Did you notice we had a new starter there on the defensive line?
No. Who was that?
Harrison Hunt, man, came in. He started.
I knew that. I knew. I was just messing with you because they even announced that on the the national broadcast that he was starting in place of Ford.
You made me feel like I was like, oh man, I thought I had some insider info, and you just didn't realize it. So I mean, I thought he played well. I mean, we talked about Nesta. I think Nesta played well. He was big in the fourth quarter, stopping the NC State offense. By the way, too, did you see that play by Nesta? He I think it was the center was trying to
where
block.
he took him with him.
Yeah, he took them with him and just, oh my God, just ate them both for dinner and dessert. Oh my God,
What did
man.
you see his tweet about that?
No, what did he say?
Is it bring your kids to work day?
I love it. And the best part is just the smack he talks, man. I love
Oh,
it
yeah.
because I mean he can back it up now.
Yes.
I love it.
I do too.
So defensive line. What did you see from the linebackers this game? What did you think?
I see that we are slow. It looks like McLeod is thinking instead of just playing, because you can see on some of the plays, especially the pass plays, he's just looking around. I don't know if he's lost, if he's out of position, or what's going on with him. But he just makes me a little nervous, to be honest, in there as a linebacker. I don't think he is. I wouldn't say capable. I'm sure he's capable of doing it, but I don't know if he's just. If there's too much that they're trying to make him do, because he is the fifth-year senior, he is the one that went out last year to come back this year and be the man. So is it too much pressure? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I thought Jennings played okay. I don't think that like either one of them stuck out. They had whatever games. Do you think that either one of them should be benched or should have like more? I mean, because if you do look at the stats, like I think Sam Brooks is getting more snaps.
Right.
Do you think that either one of them shouldn't be starting, or do you think this is something we just have to kind of like ride with?
Well, I probably going to have to ride with them starting, but I would like to see Brooks and I forgot his name. Brooks and
Huff.
Yeah, I would like to see Brooks and Avery Huff get more playing time. I mean, because you can see they're a little faster. Brooks seems like he reacts faster, especially in the running game. It's like he knows which hole to hit faster, and it looks like he does it better than McLeod.
Yeah, I agree. I thought.
But let me ask you this.
Okay.
So Jennings and McLeod together, all right, this year alone, what do you think together they're averaging? Their tackles a game.
Their tackles? Oof. Oh man. I'd say like maybe like 8.
Jennings and McLeod roughly are averaging 6.5 tackles a game.
Holy shit. I mean,
now compare this to Shaq Quarterman and Mike Pickney. What do you think they averaged combined last year, roughly?
Oh, I mean, I know it's a lot more than that. I would say maybe like 12.
14.5.
Oh my God. Wow.
So from last year's 2 starters to this year's 2 starters, 11 tackles a game difference. I'm sorry.
No.
9 tackles a game difference.
It's okay. We know you're not good at math.
Right. Me math no good.
Me math no good.
Right. But anyways, I mean, you get what I'm saying here. There's definitely a lack in production from our linebackers for sure. I mean, all around.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I thought, like, moving on, because this is, like, similar to the linebackers, I mean, I thought the strikers were, like, whatever. I didn't see anything. I think Frierson was pretty good in coverage, if I remember correctly. I mean, geez, if one of them could play the other linebacker position.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about our striker position.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Now you want to talk about a position that I am concerned about?
I already know where this is going. Okay. Tell me about Al Blades and DJ Ivy.
Man, okay. Now, I played defense in school, but it was linebacker and defensive line. I never played cornerback. But even back then, which was, quite a few years ago, they always did tell you to
by the way, do you still have your leather helmet from when you played?
No, we were past leather helmets by then.
Oh,
my
you
friend.
were? Okay. I was just wondering because I was just
That's funny. No, I like that. That's good. Nobody's ever said that to me before. That's hilarious. That's funny. I'm gonna use that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get me a meme and I'm gonna put a leather helmet on me.
Oh gosh.
No, but back to the cornerbacks. I mean, man, it's just watching them. It's just they make me nervous when I see the ball go deep. It's just because it's either going to be a pass interference or they're going to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Because they don't turn their head around in time. I just don't know. Which is going to bring me to something else. Which Rumpf. I don't know what to say about the guy. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do we think that these are things that are bad coaching, or do you think it's just the players need to do this? You know what I mean?
Now, if the defense would have changed if the defensive staff would have changed around as much as the offensive staff, I would say, we'd have to let it play out.
Mm-hmm.
But how long has Rumpf been here?
Years.
Right. So, I mean, because the whole thing about him was he was supposed to be able to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Now you saw it with Michael. It was Michael Jackson?
Yeah, Michael Jackson. Yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're saying with the cornerbacks and Rumpf. I mean, I think part of it is they're just not good. I mean, I think it was just a bad game too, because I mean, if you look, like, a couple of those throws, they were like really well thrown balls, and like.
No, I totally get that, but
yeah.
I mean, you still got to turn your head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you're talking about like the DJ Ivy play where he turned his head after the receiver had already caught the touchdown, right?
Right. Well,
yeah.
That's just one. I mean, if you look at even Al Blades, same thing. I mean, it's just like when they start getting deep balls, I don't know why they don't turn their head around, because some of those plays, if they turn their head around, they can intercept it or at least knock the ball away.
Yeah. No, it's true.
All right, that's enough about it. I mean, we could talk about the defense all night. Twitter's blowing up about it. We all know what's going on, but I mean, what can we do?
Yeah. No,
what can we do about it? I mean, it's either got to be Blake Baker has got to fix something, or Manny needs to tell Blake Baker to fix something, because you get your butts blowed out the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter comes around, and all of a sudden you hold the team that was just moving the ball pretty much at will to just 6 yards.
Yeah. I mean, something changed, right?
My opinion is, and I tweeted this out on Friday night after the game, was I believe Manny either took the play sheet and was calling all the defense himself, or he had the play sheet and he was listening over the headphones and was either. I mean, I'm sure he was listening because he always listens, but I want to say he was saying, no, Blake, try this one or run this play, or he was changing the play on the fly, because I noticed on TV, and this is on the TV broadcast, that first, second, and third quarter, Manny Diaz wasn't holding the play calling sheet. All of a sudden in the fourth quarter, the defense starts looking like defense of old, and Manny's holding the play sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we'll probably never know for sure. We'll never, that he's never going to come out and say, yeah, I took over play calling for Blake. But something changed, because that defense went from giving up everything to they couldn't give up anything.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean, you look, NC State's last 3 drives, it was 2 punts and then the interception by DJ Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, something did change, because they were moving the ball easily.
They were, and you see that they went from 4 down linemen to 3 down linemen, and then they had the 2 defensive ends standing up, and then they had the linebackers standing up behind, and they were just moving around like you didn't know like before, because they would move around and shoot this gap, shoot that gap. It was more confusing for the offensive line, and I think that's what happened. I just don't know who was calling the plays, but something changed, and I hope that they go back and review the film over the fourth quarter, and they played that defense from here on out.
Yeah.
Because if that defense plays along with the way that the offense played the whole game, man, watch out. This team's going to be dangerous.
No, yeah, and I think I'd be interested to see what Brad has to say about whether or not he thinks Manny took over the play calling.
Oh,
we'll have to ask him that.
We're definitely going to ask him that.
So I mean, I feel like the immediate reaction to this game was not a good one, and it was because of how the defense performed. But I mean, you got to feel good with where we're at, right?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I can say this, that if this was last year's team, I would have either turned it off at halftime, if I would have made it to halftime, you know what I mean, or I would have drank myself, I would have drank too much. But this Friday night, I wasn't panicked. I mean, especially when we went down by 10, when the kicker did the whole,
Oh God! Don't even get me started on that, man.
That's right. You can check out our Twitter page for what I thought about that.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, dude, you're a kicker. No one wants to hang out with. No one. You're not a cool kicker too, like Borregales, dude. No one on the team wants to hang out with you.
Right.
He was like, "Oh, let me just do this so I look like a badass," and it's like, come on, man.
Yep, and it came around to bite him in the ass.
Guess what happened? You got the L in front of everyone. And
yep.
That's what happened. So we got the last laugh.
We got it. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't worried. Now, I didn't know exactly that we were going to go down the score, but I knew that the way the offense was playing, I wasn't worried about them going down there. I mean, I didn't realize I didn't think it was going to go down that fast. But even after the punt fumble that he recovered, then Derek King, I get it. He was trying to get the ball out and not take a sack, but he did the he got the penalty for intentional grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that, I mean, you can just see him. He was cool, calm. Nobody on the offense looked like they were panicking, and that's what I liked the most. That's what I like to see the most. Nobody looked lost. They lined up for that third down play, and then he got that long touch pass down the middle, and I want to say that was Pope.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we all know what happened after that.
Was it Pope or was it Harley?
It might have been her. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
because I think you're talking about the last touchdown, right?
No, that was Harley. It was the one before that set that play.
Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah.
Where he threw it right over the linebacker's head and he fell on the ground when he caught it. I mean, that was a perfectly touched ball. I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, Maddie, we got time for our guest. He's already texted me. He said he's ready. So how about we go ahead and dial him up?
Yeah, let's do it. We got a special guest right now. We got Brad Tejeda.
Yes, sir. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. How does it feel to be on the inaugural episode of the Canes Calling Pod, man?
Dude, it's good. It's a good feeling. I definitely want to enjoy it with you guys. But whatever you guys need, any questions, anything y'all want to talk about, I'm down, man. I want to make this a big one.
Okay, we got to address two things before we really get into it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's one thing I got to ask you. So I was going on my Twitter because you had tweeted something out this morning. You're like, "Hey man, I got a hot take. I need somewhere to put this.
Ooh.
So that's how we reached out.
Yes.
Well, I went to my personal Twitter and I was like, "Oh, let me pull up that tweet from Brad." Dude, I think you have me blocked.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
What's going on here?
You're gonna have to message me. There's no way I don't block anybody. I just mute people. So there's no way I block you.
Oh, okay. It might just be the mute then. It's okay. It's no big deal at all. I just thought it was hilarious because I was like, "Where the hell is this?" You're gonna have to let me know. You're gonna have to let me know. I will. It's no problem. So let's just get right into it. You shocked the world this morning. You had a tweet, and it said that you had a hot take, and I'm really curious to hear this.
I can't wait to hear what this is.
I feel like it's going to be something insane. I don't want to make it like, oh, he's going to shock the world or something, but, I'm just really curious to know what it is.
It's nothing too crazy. Like, I think it could open up a lot of people's eyes because it even opened up my eyes. So it has to do with a specific position group on this football team. And it obviously, as we all know, in like the last 24, 48 hours, the whole Tim Burns situation, he was pretty much our only cornerback in the class. And then if you really look at it, I mean, we don't have much depth as it is. So now you're talking about, technically right now we have no corners committed in this class, right?
Correct.
And we always, most fans, we always grieve and talk about how these corners were missing every year. But my hot take, man, is I really dug deep and looked into this team and the athleticism and really just dissected it. And you know what? What if I told y'all that we don't need a cornerback in this class and we would be fine next year?
Okay, I would say you're probably looking at someone to change positions.
Mm-hmm.
No,
or
not even
transfer portal.
No, because he's saying that all the talent's on the team already, right?
Well, it's a little bit of both. So let me explain.
Okay.
So technically, right now, I think we could all agree that Bubba Bolden's probably going to leave after this year.
Agreed.
All right.
Yeah.
So then the next guy, as far as veteranship, whatever you want to call it, how many years he's been here, would be Mr. Employee of the Month at Target, Amari Carter.
Which, by the way, Brad, see, if you didn't have me blocked, you would have seen this. I'm just saying. I put out there a photoshopped picture of Amari Carter in a Target polo.
Really?
Yeah. So you'll have to check that out.
Well, yeah, asking if he can have CTE.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, while we're talking right now, I'm looking to see if I even have anybody blocked because I don't think I do. But anyways, so the next guy obviously is Amari Carter, right? So Amari Carter, most likely he's already going to graduate. If he wants to bounce, then go ahead. You could bounce. I don't know if anybody in the league would probably pick him up right away, but I mean, best wishes to him. But let's just say he leaves, right?
Yeah.
So now when you're really looking at this team, I'm going to name you everybody in the secondary. Not specifically just corners, but everybody in the secondary.
Okay.
You got Gervin Hall, Brian Balaam, Jalen Harrell, Cam Kitchens, James Williams, Avante Williams, Keontre Smith, Gilbert Frierson, Al Blades, DJ Ivy, Corey Couch, Isaiah Dunson, Marcus Clark, and Chase Smith. I don't know about y'all, but I know when you look at this defense, when you get down to the nitty gritty, there's only going to be 4 or 5 secondary spots on the team on the field at once most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all those names I just named, I don't see any realistic option in the 2021 class, anyone that we're looking after, that would take any of those guys playing time. So when you really look at it, the next year or two, none of these guys that we're going to add as far as a cornerback would make a difference on this football team. So now you're looking at the 2022 class, which is a lot deeper, right? So we have technically 3 spots left open. Not to mention we could still go in the portal after if everything goes well as far as scholarships, which most likely it will. We're just waiting on approval. Why not use those 3 spots on big fish that are actual game changers that could change the program in the next year or two? Like guys like Jeff Garcia, Terrence Lewis, Tyreek Sapp, Jaden Hood, Marcus Tate. I'll give you another big name that I actually I haven't even said this anywhere, but I think Austin Parker is going to end up getting offered soon, and I think we might end up adding another offensive lineman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Austin
Parker
would
be huge.
Yeah, you want to talk about huge? Look up Austin Parker and look at the size of this kid. This dude's a monster. I was talking about it with a few guys in a group chat, and man, we rave every year about like this Wisconsin offensive line, the Notre Dame offensive line, all these big guys, and we never could get those type of guys. Not to mention we can never get the right coach to develop these guys. Now that we're finally starting to get a coach that can develop, you got big guys like Chris Washington who gets to sit out this whole year and pretty much just learn. And the guy is the biggest player on our football team. I mean, he's bigger than Jared Williams, and the kid's only 18 years old. So, I mean, You got him. You got Navon Donaldson, who obviously is a big guy. I mean, he's sitting right now, hopefully
Healing up, yeah.
healing up. So that's two big bodies right there. You add in Ryan Rodriguez and
Michael
Michael
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. Yeah, exactly. And you add another big body with Austin Parker. Who knows what could happen, man? Austin Parker is a big dude, and from what I've heard, he wants to stay home, and hopefully we can do some things. I know Garen Justice has been talking to him a little bit, so we'll see where it goes. But I wouldn't mind getting an offensive lineman like Austin Parker, signing either Terrence Lewis or Jaden Hood as that second linebacker, and then we'll see what about Jake Garcia, and then that's your three spots, and those are all game changers.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think they've given up on Jake Garcia.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, because
No.
I mean, as from my understanding is that they are still in contact and talking on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I mean, I could see where people were like, I don't really agree with your take, and I could see both sides. That's why I really kind of called it a hot take. But if you
Mhm.
really look at this team, even currently, we have the talent in the players. Me personally, man, I think it's the scheme and the position we put these kids in at certain times where it's just wrong from the jump, or we have the wrong personnel in, where that's more on Blake Baker, Manny Diaz, Coach Packey, Mike Rump. Like, I don't want to single just out one coach, but like, it's amazing how the past 2 or 3 years this defense has been the heart and soul to this football team.
Mm-hmm.
And in the matter of 6 to 8 months, it's complete opposite now. I would say that as far as coaching staff wise, the offense is head over heels over the defense, in my opinion. What are y'all's thoughts?
Oh, I
Well,
totally.
it's so funny because you literally answered a question I was going to ask you without even knowing it. I was going to ask you about the defense, and I was going to ask you what your take is on, like, obviously Blake Baker is getting a lot of flack right now, and I think understandably so. And we as Canes fans have a tendency to overreact to things and, kind of live in the moment. But do you think that, I mean, based on what you've said already, do you think that the underperformance on the defense is more of a coaching thing, or, because we did lose a lot of players last year, a lot of production?
Yeah, I think I think it goes both ways. I think you got to put some. I think you have to put some on the coaches and some on the players still, because at the end of the day, the players are accountable. At the end of the day, the players got to make the plays. You just got to put them in the right position. For example, the other night against NC State, Zach McLeod, we put Zach McLeod in the right position to make that interception.
Oh yeah.
You take out Zach McLeod, and if that's Sam Brooks or Avery Huff or Keontre Smith or Gilbert Frierson, that's an interception, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you got other. I mean, there's a lot of other scenarios. I don't want to just single out Zach McLeod.
No, I understand.
But I think it goes both ways. I think it's the coaching, and I think at times we don't have the correct personnel. Now, don't get me wrong, Zach McLeod played pretty decent against NC State as far as the run. He just didn't really hold us in the passing game. But
Right.
again, we knew that's been our struggle all year, is our linebackers get picked apart in the passing game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I don't believe they have the speed. McLeod especially doesn't have the speed to keep up with that from what it looks like. And plus, he looks lost. It looks like he's trying to think instead of reacting. I mean, you can see on some of those plays, he's getting caught with his eyes in the backfield. It's just, and with him coming back, a fifth-year senior, I mean, he should be playing way better than what he's doing now.
Yeah, I mean, look at a kid like Corey Couch, who it's only his second year in the program, and he is not. I mean, he's probably the best corner on our football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw someone that had said that he's probably the best corner we have in man coverage, like straight up.
Definitely. And I mean, we have in like all those names I mentioned earlier, as far as like the secondary, we have so many athletes that can just play multiple positions to where we can plug and play depending on who we play. Like, there's going to be times, like, for instance, if we were playing this Virginia Tech team next year with the guys I just named in this class, I would have James Williams in the box. I would have Chase Smith in the box. I would have Gilbert and Keontre Smith in the box. And then you still have your guys over top, like Gervin Hall, Brian Balaam, Cam Kitchens, hopefully Avonte Williams. You still got your Blades, Ivy. I mean, you still have all the corners from last season. I don't see any of those guys leaving. They have no business leaving. I think this year's a little bit different just because Al Blades, I think, is a lot more smarter. I think he'll make the right decision, and I think he wants to stay all 4 years.
Yeah. Can we backtrack a little bit? We were talking about the linebackers.
Yeah.
And I kind of pulled something up just because I was curious. Let me ask you a question. How many tackles do you think our starting linebackers, McLeod and Jennings, are averaging right now?
A game or season so far?
Like together a game combined.
Together a game combined.
Yeah.
I would probably say 9 or 10. Nine.
It's actually 6.
6.5 roughly.
Oh my goodness!
And
guess how much Shaq and Quarterman? Shaq and Pickney.
12 at least 12 or 13
together.
14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
It's insane when you think about just the drop from that.
Now, is that? Let me ask you. Do you think that drop is a scheme or player?
I'm gonna have to go with player because I think we still had the same things we're saying about Jennings and McLeod as far as not being there quick enough in certain situations. I think Pickney and Quarterman, especially in the passing game, was the same way. But I think what you're seeing is a higher football IQ. I think Shaq, Quarterman, and Pickney. I think a lot of fans took it for granted that they were able to pick up on things a lot quicker, especially in the film room. I think they were like probably one of the best on our football team as far as reviewing film and like actually knowing what plays are coming. I think our guys currently are still missing that.
Yeah.
So another question I want to bring up. Now, the whole defense for the first 3 quarters didn't look like a regular Miami Hurricane defense in the past.
I know where you're going with this.
Until the fourth quarter. Now, all of a sudden, something switched. Something happened. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I have my idea that Manny Diaz started taking over the play calling, or do you think that he was following the play sheet and was listening over the headset and making adjustments that way? Because in my opinion, and I tweeted this out on our Twitter page after the game, was it looked to me like Manny Diaz started calling the plays because I saw in the first, second, and third quarter when they showed him, he didn't have a play calling sheet. In the fourth quarter, he had a play calling sheet, and then the defense went back to 3 down linemen. They had the defensive end standing up, kind of looked like some of the defensive plays that was done last year and the year before. So what do you think? Do you think that Manny Diaz was calling the plays?
Oh, man, you talk about seeing stuff. And I think I saw an NC State Wolfpack team that was marching down the field nonstop for 3 quarters. And then fourth quarter comes around and what I think we talked earlier, 6 total yards in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
I mean, you don't go from scoring 35, 41 points. I know one of them was off of special teams. But, I mean, you don't go from scoring 35 points, NC State at home, obviously having most of the momentum, to just all of a sudden fourth quarter comes and they lose all the momentum and they don't have the game changers and the X factors when it means the most. And you know what? That is what Miami has been missing for so long is when we get ourselves into tight ball games, we never have faith because of the outcomes we're normally used to. And the players don't use and I'm talking recent, not obviously overall, like what all these great UN players that we have, but like in the past 5, 7, 8 years, I mean, we didn't have those game changers. And I mean, you see exactly what Rhett Lashley and what De'Aaron King was brought here to do. And we have never, I mean, me personally, I'm only 28 years old. I have never seen a quarterback performance like De'Aaron King did.
Not in a Miami uniform.
Not in a Miami uniform. No, not in a Miami uniform. As stats wise, I could see where people could go with that. Like you got Stephen Morris against NC State as well, which is a coincidence. You could also probably find like a Ken Dorsey stat. I know that was like right around 2001, 2002. But like as far as what it meant to the program, the eye test, like just drive after drive, it just seemed like any time we needed an answer, number one came with it.
Mm-hmm.
That actually kind of falls into a question I wanted to ask you. This game, and I think last game too, De'Aaron King has been a lot better with the deep ball. I mean, I don't know if I would say just De'Aaron King. I think the receivers maybe have been a little better too. I think just overall timing, you know.
Yep.
What do you think? What do you attribute that to? Do you think it's, you know, they've gotten more run-in together? Like they're actually staying after practice and playing.
The timing and everything's starting to come in now because, you know, they didn't have the spring ball, they didn't have the good camp, they didn't have really a lot of time together to get the timing down.
Yeah,
definitely agree. I agree 100%. They're starting to get into their groove. I mean, we saw Mark Pope in an interview I think today after practice. He's starting to feel like Mark Pope again. It's just these guys just got to get comfortable. And I mean, I brought up the word confidence on Fours Up the other night. And I mean, Mark Pope said the same word. He just felt confident. And I think you're starting to see that from everybody. I mean, even De'Aaron King, as great as he is, I think he's looking and feeling a lot more confident than even he was like at the beginning of the season. And that just comes with repetition, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think we're starting to see that we don't have to just rely on De'Aaron King. We're starting to get other guys involved to where Mike Harley is starting to be a reliable receiver these past few games. Mark Pope, like you guys said, is stepping up. Even with, I mean, and again, we're doing all this without our best wide receiver weapon, which is Brevin Jordan. Mm-hmm. So we're able to plug and play other guys, Will Mallory, use other guys in certain formations, and we're winning ball games that we're not used to winning. And I tweeted this out earlier, and you got to give most of this to Rhett Lashley and De'Aaron King, because without those two guys, from what I saw overall and how close these football games have been, we're probably just as bad as Florida State this year.
Oh, most definitely. We would probably be. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking we'd probably only have 3 wins.
Our offensive coordinator and N'Kosi Perry. Yeah, 2. I'm thinking 2-4, 3-3 maybe if we're lucky. Mm-hmm. But and that, I mean, that's not really a knock to N'Kosi nor say, but like we just don't have the right. We've never really had the right guys, and I'm really hoping that Manny Diaz kind of sits Blake Baker down this week and kind of like just sees like, hey man, this is week 6, week 7. I'm having to go over the same things with you as far as schematically and putting guys in place. I think this is the week where we can't make mistakes like we've been making to a Virginia Tech team who's very powerful in the run game and a dynamic quarterback. I'm gonna have to take over. I'm gonna have to take over this whole game, like a Virginia game last year. You know, I think this is the game that Manny wants to make a statement. I'm hoping. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm hoping he takes over the D the whole game. And I honestly think this could be the first game of the year we see a complete A game from our team. We haven't seen a 9 or a 10 as far as a complete football game, and we're still 6-1.
Yep. Yeah. If we can get all 3 phases to hit at the same time, this team will be very scary.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, look what obviously I live in Gainesville, so it's hard not to bring this team up. But look what Florida did, finally hitting on all cylinders against Georgia. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, Georgia has some guys out, but they still got a crap ton of 4-star stars all over the board. They have the coaches for what they think, at least. But Florida wasn't looking, I mean, even though they were scoring points, their defense looked very suspect. And, I mean, their defense at least finally gave them a game, and their offense still was able to do what they've been doing. And they looked like a pretty damn good football team against Georgia. Can't lie.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to agree, too. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue that point.
and it has to do a lot with.
Oh, he must be driving through a bad area.
Like, don't get me wrong. You there?
Yeah, we're here. You're just breaking up a little bit as you're driving. It's no big deal. Go ahead, bud.
Oh, my bad. So, I mean, me, along with most Kane fans, we troll this guy a lot, and it's so easy to troll him just because he's so damn goofy and just the way he dances, and he wants to wear like big, but he's not big, like he's kind of big, but he's not tall. We're talking about Dan Mullen here. If you really look at it, man, the guy is a great quarterback coach. I mean, he's able to make a lot of things happen with quarterbacks that don't necessarily pass the eye test as far as talent. You go all the way back to Dak Prescott. At the time, nobody thought he was as great as he was until he linked up with Dan Mullen. Then you got Felipe Franks, who went from like probably the worst quarterback in college football to, as soon as he got with Mullen, I believe he was the highest passing completion percentage in the whole SEC. And then now you got Kyle Trask, who was D'Eriq King's backup his whole high school career. So he's able to plug and play guys in the biggest position in college football, and he's able to adapt to what they are good at. And he's able to hide what they're bad at by using the best players on the football field and spreading them out, which I think is what Miami's been begging for so many years. And now we're finally starting to see that with Rhett Lashley.
And it's about time.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I'm really excited because I see the team, the offense especially, they're starting to gel. The offensive line, I have to say, after watching the film again after this NC State game, they played a really good game.
Can we say something too?
Yeah,
I think Zion Nelson had a hell of a game.
Yeah, he did.
He played really well.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up Zion Nelson, and it's like, another thing we've been dying for is offensive linemen, not just like guys with the names on the back of their jerseys, just plugging them in for bodies, but now we are starting to create like quality depth. Like the fact that we have Navon Donaldson, Jalen Rivers, we're going to have Lawrence Seymour, Ryan Rodriguez, Isaiah Walker. Like these are all guys that have not played. And those are all quality type guys that 3 or 4 years ago, I would have died for on this football team. And those are all guys that haven't even touched the field. And then you look at the starting five we have now. If we're being completely honest, Jared Williams hasn't been as elite as everyone thought going into this season. Who would say he doesn't stay another year, help his draft stock, and the whole starting five could be back next year, along with all the guys I just said.
Even Gaynor? I thought he was.
Yeah.
Oh, so, he has one more year left? Well, actually, never mind. The NCAA is going to probably let everybody else have a.
Correct.
Yeah, I think everyone gets a year no matter what.
And I believe he has to stay at least another semester or two to graduate, and I know he wants to graduate.
Wow, can you imagine having all this just let's just throw this hypothetical out there. All 5 starting linemen come back. D'Eriq King comes back. All those freshmen now have another year under their belt in the running back stable. The wide receivers, I don't see. Isn't there only one? Isn't it Pope? Or is it Harley?
Pope is a junior?
Yeah, Pope is a junior.
Harley's the
senior.
But again, we talk about that free year. I mean, if I'm Mike Harley, the way he's been doing, I think you take what you can, maybe a 6th, 7th round, hopefully. He could get drafted. If not, maybe he'll get picked up. But I think a guy like Mike Harley probably leaves. And to be real with you guys, I'm liking these freshmen that are currently on the team, and I'm really liking the 2021 freshmen to where I wouldn't mind seeing like 3 or 4 guys on this wide receiver group. If they want to bounce, if they want to transfer, I'm really confident that a lot of these young cats, they're going to be pushing for some spots. Like, I mean, we have some elite talent coming in. You want to talk about Brashard Smith, Jacoby George, Romello Brinson. You still got Xavier Restrepo, Keyshawn Smith, man, Michael Redding. Like, dude, the list goes on.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we're hurting in the wide receiver department right now.
Another.
We were just talking about all the receivers.
Correct.
Another hot take right at that position. Correct. The one thing I was going to ask you actually about receivers, Jeremiah Payton. There's a lot of hype on him coming into the season. You know, he was burning it up. He was tearing the scout team apart, or on the scout team. We haven't really seen too much of him. I mean, I think part of that's related to the whole COVID thing. But do you think he can step it up in the rest of the season? Where do you see him fitting in, like, with this offense?
Man, that's a good question, because to be quite honest with you, I thought he was probably going to be like the guy at wide receiver, either him or D. Wiggins this season. I think we all had a lot of high hopes for a kid like Peyton, but like you said, man, we haven't really seen much. So unfortunately, like, I really don't know what to expect with a guy like him. As crazy as it sounds, I almost would rather have like Redding or Keyshawn Smith out there, because at least we know when they're in the game, things happen, and we just still haven't seen that from Peyton. I mean, I hope things get better with him, but I mean, like I just mentioned, with all these guys, if he doesn't get it together, I mean, he's going to get passed, unfortunately. And I think we have the right guys, especially in the group this year and then coming next year, that you're gonna have to bring your A game. If you don't, someone else is. I think we have a lot of options, and I know we're focusing a little bit on the receivers, but another hot take for me, the biggest group I want to see after the season ends is what happens to the tight end group, because I think this might sound a little crazy, man, but I don't know if Brevin Jordan should leave this year. I think all he's doing is hurting his draft stock right now. He hasn't played enough, in my opinion. I think if he gets graded as like a second round, then definitely bounce, because obviously he's a little injury prone, and I mean, he needs to make his money while he can, right? But as of right now, I don't even think he's a second round grade, because he just hasn't been on the field much. And let's just say Brevin Jordan does stay. So now you still got Jordan and Mallory that are going to be your 1-2 punch. What happens to the other four amazing? I mean, I can't say enough how talented this tight end group is going to be like come next year, man. You talk about Dom Marinelli, you got Elijah Arroyo, you got Larry Hodges still, and then you got Khalil Brantley, along with the two guys I just mentioned, man. You're like 5-6 deep at tight end.
Yeah, Brevin, I mean, being out with his injury or whatever, I mean, with his shoulder and everything right now, I agree. But I mean, he's been injured quite a bit. I mean, the last couple of years. I mean, he's missed quite a bit of games. But even if he, okay, let's put it this way: Kyle Pitts, Brevin Jordan. Who would you pick if you was an NFL GM?
Man, it honestly depends on what team I'm a GM for, because at times I would say Brevin Jordan, because I think Brevin Jordan is a more suitable, comfortable tight end to where you could probably put him on like any NFL team, and as long as he's healthy, keyword healthy, then he's going to produce for you. But then again, I look at someone like Kyle Pitts, and I think Kyle Pitts, you wouldn't necessarily be able to put him on every NFL team because he's not a true tight end. But at the same time, I think Kyle Pitts' ceiling, based off the type of tight ends that are doing well now in the NFL, guys like Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, you talk about the guy from San Francisco as well. I mean, these are all tight ends that are very similar to Kyle Pitts.
Well, I'm taking the best tight end in America. I don't care if he's injured.
I mean that's the thing. Like I can't. I as much as a fan, I want to do that. Like I don't want to be devil's advocate, because at the same time, I give all my Gator friends like crap for that same reason all the time, because they love bringing up like past guys like Percy Harvin. They're always like, oh, Percy Harvin is one of the best NFL wide receivers. Like, y'all never had anybody like him. I'm like, bro, when is he healthy? Like, he's not good. Like,
right.
You're saying he's good, but really he's not good, because he's not playing much. So it's like, how are you going to take Percy Harvin over a Reggie Wayne or Santana Moss? Like, you don't. That's just Gator fans being dumb.
Which is typical.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So going forward, I mean, some of these freshman receivers have been out due to COVID. You know, Restrepo was out. was it Smith that was out too last week? Yeah.
Mhm.
Who do you see like going forward that can have like the biggest impact on the game?
Keyshawn Smith.
Keyshawn Smith.
Yeah, I think we're fine. Like you guys talked about earlier. I think D'Eriq King's starting to get a little bit more comfortable with that deep ball, and I think Rhett Lashley's starting to see that if we use our deep ball a little bit more, we could kind of get ahead early to where if we end up having to put our defenses in tough positions like we have been, at least we're ahead and not behind. And I think, if we got Mark Pope and Mike Harley doing these things, if you add another guy that could do all those things and kind of blow the top off a coverage on one play, I think you got to add Keyshawn Smith for that.
I love that take.
I do too. I like Keyshawn Smith.
Me too.
Yeah, man, he's a super athletic guy. I remember, obviously we picked up on him late thanks to Likens, but I think it was Likens and Coach Fields, I believe. I think it was those two. But I remember watching like a clip of him, I guess, out in California, and he did like an alley-oop to himself in like the driveway on a hoop, and literally his whole neck was above the rim. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
This guy has bunnies.
Hey, that's how we do it out here, man. Cali kids.
All right, so Brad, let me ask you a question. We got Virginia Tech coming up, noon. Miami has only had one noon game this year. Most of their other games have been at night. How do you see this game playing out?
You know, man, I think I was actually more worried about coming off a bye and playing NC State than I am this weekend. We've been talking about it kind of all night, and it's the confidence and how comfortable this team is starting to look, especially on offense. And I think we finally have the game changer players to where when it gets into tough situations, I think we're now starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and used to having guys that could overcome things that we haven't seen in the past. And I think Manny Diaz hopefully grabs Baker and tells him, hey, I'm going to take over this game. This is a game that we cannot lose. And I think this could be the first A game we see all year. And I'm hoping that we kind of win by at least 17, 20 points. But we have the capability to do it. We just haven't put it all together.
Yeah. And I think one of the big things, too, is Virginia Tech's defense is not what it was before the past few seasons, right? Under Bud Elliott.
And if you really look at Virginia Tech's offense too, they're kind of similar to us. Everything starts and ends with the quarterback. I think both teams, the number one key for both teams is contain the quarterback for both. I think whatever quarterback plays the best is that team will end up winning the game. And I'm putting all my eggs in D'Eriq King, man. That the guy is like player of the week almost every week. It seems like now.
Man, I tell you, I mean, he's just. The more and more I watch him, I watched a little bit of Houston. I didn't catch all his games. Of course, when he committed over here, I went back and watched some more of his film. But just to see him do it in person and live as it's happening, it's just. I'm gonna be honest with you. When we had that ball at the end, and he even threw that the intentional grounding and got that penalty, I still wasn't worried. I still had confidence that we were going to go down and at least score. I didn't think it was going to be that quick, but I wasn't worried about it.
No, for sure. It's like when the pocket collapsed, it's almost like he turns on a whole nother switch where he does things like that. Again, we're just not used to it. We've never had a pure mobile quarterback. We've been talking for the past 3 or 4 weeks before a week ago about how D'Eriq King needs to keep the ball a little bit more, right? Especially in the RPO. Mm-hmm. And he's not used to that. He never did it in high school. He never did it at Houston as far as the RPO. And if you really dig deep into it, our best RPO quarterback was Malik Rozier that Miami's probably ever had. And that's not saying much, Right. And there were times where I know fans don't want to give credit where it's due, but there were times where Malik Rozier won football games for us because of his legs.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And right. and we're seeing that with D'Eriq King every game. So it's great to see.
So Brad, we've taken up a good amount of your time. So let's just end it with you want to. I know you said you favor Miami 17 points. Is that what you said? I believe
17-20.
Yeah, 17-20, I would say.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us and giving us the exclusive scoop on your hot take.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Actually,
man,
it was
I
two hot
appreciate it.
takes.
Yeah, it was. Man, all these hot takes, man. I think the red hot sign at Krispy Kreme's on.
It's
Ooh.
fixing to come on hot, right?
Hey, if you ever have any other hot takes, let us know. We'll get you on a mic and let it out.
Hey, man, I appreciate it again, fellas, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. And I'll definitely come on again when you guys want, and let's keep it going. And go Canes.
Outstanding.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad. We appreciate it, man. You have a great night. We'll talk later.
Of course, you guys too.
See ya. All right, guys. What an interview. Honestly, was not expecting Brad to give us that much time, so that was really cool of him.
I'm just glad he gave us any kind of time. I mean, I just happened to reach out today, and it worked out perfect. What a great guy.
I know. Yeah, I know. What a great guy. Just a surprise guest we brought you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do our segment, Introduce Us to the World. It's called Game Ball and Participation Trophy. Basically, whoever played well gets the game ball. Whoever did not, well, I mean, I guess they showed up. They just didn't really do anything besides that. They get the participation trophy.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it's no debate here. I mean,
All right, so Maddie,
yeah,
who do you give your trophy to on
my
offense?
participation trophy or the game ball?
No, I'm sorry, the game ball. Who are you going to give your game ball to on offense?
So game ball, I just did De'Aaron King. I only did it for like one. I only gave one game ball out, and it was to De'Aaron King.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got hit multiple times. Still carried the team on his back. He converted multiple third downs with his legs. Just
even that fourth and one.
Throws. Yeah.
Which we didn't even talk about that. Oh my God.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Okay. So it's 3rd and 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's third and goal. Or
fourth.
And,
it was 4th and 1.
No. I'm talking about the play leading up to that. So,
okay, gotcha.
Third down, De'Aaron King rushes. He's about like half a yard, maybe a yard short. And they mark it short, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they line up, hurry up, get to the next play, and I think De'Aaron King ran it in, right? Was that what happened on the 4th down play?
No, it was the 4th and 1. It was deep into our side of the ball. I would think it was like on the 35, 36 yard line. It was 4th and 1. De'Aaron King went to he did the zone read, and he put the ball in the gut, and then as soon as he pulled it out, I want to say it was Cam Harris.
Oh no, I was talking about.
Yeah, you were talking about a different one.
Yeah, no. Okay, well we can get into that. Yeah, that was when he had the 40-yard rush, right?
Yeah, the 40. Yeah, that was like in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was big. But so what I was talking about was when they were marching down. I can't remember what quarter. Was it in the 4th quarter when they settled for the field goal? Remember when they were like within like the 5-yard line, 5 or 6 yards? So
correct.
Like
there was like 11. I think it was 11 minutes or 9 minutes left in the game.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was on 3rd down, De'Aaron King tried to run it in. He got stuff. He was short about like half a yard or a yard, and then the next play they hurry up and then they run it in. And they get the touchdown, but then the refs, blow the whistle and say, "Hey, like, we got to review this." They review it, and then they say he's short, and then that play doesn't count because, they had blown it dead.
I remember that play.
Yeah, and then Manny elects to go for the field goal, which, I mean, I got to say, like, a lot of people were complaining about it, but, like, I mean, I think you take the field goal there just because, like, that would be such a Miami thing for, like, them to try to go for it again and then just get stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, we needed those 3 points regardless.
Yeah.
Whether we got them then or we got them later. We needed the 3 points.
Yeah.
There was plenty of time left in the game. Take the points. Yes, I get it. People are like, yeah, we should have scored. We needed to go for it. But, I mean, you were going to have to get a field goal anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows
Okay.
if you're going to get a chance to come down again? You know what I mean? I mean, you go ahead and get the points while they're on the board. I mean, your offense is playing lights out. And at that time, your defense was starting to step up. So, I mean, why wouldn't you? I thought that was a good call. My personal opinion, I thought that was a good call.
Agree with you. Okay, so that was the game ball. We kind of got off on a little tangent.
That's
but
all right.
Okay. So who were you going to give your game ball to? I gave mine out. It can be the same person. I mean,
No, I'm not going to give it out to Derek King, even though he was
Okay.
part of it. I'm going to give it out to the 3 wide receivers.
Okay, I respect that.
Because, I mean, they stepped up. Now, after Mr. Harley came out and said what he said, and we all know what he said, how they weren't taking it serious, blah, 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 whatever. But then you could see they come out. You can tell they were doing extra work. I don't know if it was just film breakdown or jugs or whatever, but you can see that it was starting to pick up.
Yeah.
Now, this last game against NC State, I mean, all 3 of them stepped up. I mean, and he was throwing. I mean, it's just I'm gonna give it to the wide receivers, and
Okay.
I hope they keep going the way they're going, because if they do, this offense is going to score a lot of points. It's going to be like
Yeah.
Oklahoma. I'm telling you, it's going to be like Oklahoma.
Yeah. Okay. I respect that. Give them some recognition. I think we might have the same participation trophy that we're going to give it to the same person. Do you have the same feeling about that?
Probably.
Okay.
Now, if
I'm
you
giving
say
mine-
Blake Baker, then yes.
Yep. The king of bendeth no breaketh. Except there was a lot of breaking happening.
Yeah, they broke way too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was in the first quarter they had multiple defensive penalties and they just looked super out of it. I mean, they gave up 400 yards in 3 quarters.
Right.
Which, if Manny didn't start calling the game, how many more would they have gotten?
Oh man. Well, I mean,
Who
who knows? I mean, I'm sure we probably would have lost that game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And then not to mention too, NC State pretty efficient on third down, and I mean I feel like the third down efficiency, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that's a reflection of coaching, isn't it?
Could be.
Yeah.
But without actually saying the thing, but yeah, it could be coaching, because you're putting people in the wrong positions. You're doing the blitz at the wrong time, coverage 0. I mean, it just depends. But yeah, a lot of that could be on coaching.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention too, I don't know if you know this, it's the second time we've given up 40 points this season. Do you know the last time that happened? That we gave up?
Wasn't that Louisville?
No, not against 2. We give up 40 to Clemson. I think Louisville was 34 or something.
That's right.
I mean, it's the second time this season it happened. But do you know the last time that we gave up 40 points multiple times in a season was?
Oh no.
It was back when we had Mark D'Onofrio as the defensive coordinator.
Please do not ever say that name on this podcast again.
What?
We don't allow that on here.
You can censor that after.
I'll put a bleep on it.
Yeah. Not to mention too, I looked at the stats of 2019 and 2018, and I mean, we're giving up 5 more points a game, which that's a good amount, almost a touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention too, I was looking at our sacks number, and the amount of sacks that we've gotten the past 3 years, and I mean they're down by an entire sack this year, which is pretty huge. We've usually been in the top 3 of the ACC, and now we're number 10, I think.
Wait, you said we're 10 in the ACC? Aren't there only 13 teams?
Well, there's 15 because
15, sorry.
Notre Dame decided that they didn't want to become independent. They don't want to be an independent football team anymore. Well, at least for this season.
Still horrible, regardless.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I mean, that's who I'm giving my participation trophy to. It'll be interesting to see in the coming weeks of what's going to happen.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add on Blake Baker or anything else?
No, because I mean, honestly, we could probably have 4 or 5 shows just on the defensive loan. To be
Yeah.
honest, yeah.
No, I completely agree.
You can only beat a dead horse so much.
Yeah. Me and Caniacs are super excited to keep this thing going. I think we're planning on doing an episode of previewing the basketball team. We're not entirely sure when we're going to do that, but just be on the lookout for that to drop. We're going to try to get a guest for that too. But with that being said, next game for Canes football is Saturday 12, right? And against Virginia Tech.
Yep, 12 nooner.
In Blacksburg too.
In Blacksburg, which 12 noon on Saturday in Blacksburg does not, worry me as much as, Friday nights or Saturday nights there. Because, well, the other thing is with COVID, there's not as many people, but that place can get rowdy.
Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know how many people they're allowing, but it can't be how it usually is there, the atmosphere.
Right.
Good news too, it's on ESPN2 instead of ACC Network.
So everybody in South Florida can see it.
Yeah, and we don't have to see Tim Hasselbeck too.
Or listen to Andre Ware again. Jeez.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on that guy.
Man.
Well, we appreciate you guys giving it a listen. We're obviously, still working things out. We want this experience to be a lot different than how it is right now. We don't want to just be a podcast. We want to be able to have these live streams where we can have graphics and, it's very interactive and stuff, because Caniacs is a beast when it comes to all that.
I'm trying.
You don't even need to try, man.
Right, but we want to be more interactive with the fans. I know once the podcast gets out, people will hear it. We start doing the live streams and everything, and I'm hoping people will call and just give us your opinion on the football, whatever. It's going to be an open forum. We'll have topics to discuss, but that doesn't mean when you call in you have to discuss our topics. If there's something on your mind you want to let us know, or if it's a hot take, or you just want to talk about how you're feeling about the defense or whatever it is, give us a call. We'll talk about it. We'll air it. And we can go from there.
Exactly. With that being said, just follow us on all social media. At Twitter.
Canes Calling.
Yeah, Canes Calling across the board. Be on the lookout. We're making sure that we have the podcast available to wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll get on it. Go Canes, right?
Hey, first episode in the books. What can we say?
Jack, my favorite basketball player for the Canes was Jack McClinton.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, he was dangerous. I loved like his swagger. He always had like a fresh new haircut every time he played.
Right.
That 33, man, and like his jumper was just so smooth and he was deadly.
Yeah,